So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2nd of February, which, as far as I'm concerned, this Friday, speaking for Lorna Shore, they're going to have like probably one of the biggest merch drops ever. They got hockey jerseys and stuff like that, but we're not interviewing Lorna Shore. So, like, of course, shout out to them because their merch always sells out really quick. But this is going to be episode 16 of the Anatomy podcast. We've been doing this basically a year now. Technically, we just weren't able to get the Spotify uploads done until March last year. So that's really when it started. But this is going to be episode 16. We are here today with none other than Donovan and Blake from Disembodied Tyrants. And this is another one of those projects in the scene right now that I would dare say is bringing the blackest, like most evil elements of metal back into the forefront. And of course, again, Lorna Shore is one of those names too. But I would argue that, like, I don't know, like they do black and deathcore and stuff, but they don't really do corpse paint. They don't really do any of that type of stuff just yet. And that would be
they're kind of the new kind of wave of blackened deathcore kind of thing. I feel like they're at but for sure the forefront of that in terms of popularity.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially with To the Hellfire breaking and cracking open TikTok like it had. Like,
oh dude, my For You page was just To the Hellfire for months. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I am definitely here to interview all of the underdogs in that scene as well, because of course they deserve their spotlight as well. But we have good old Donovan and Blake here from Disembodied Tyrants, as I said, and we are here to fulfill the Anatomy podcast formula, which is an hour session about the first session being for the people, the second for the music, the juicy band questions that y'all love to get answered, etc. So as we migrate into the first half of the session, of course, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, we got about a foot of snow here. Ooh. As of last night. So yeah, just got a fire going upstairs and yeah, feeling good.
I just got back home from school. So
yeah. some of us are still imprisoned by the educational system. Just kidding. Stay in school, people. Like it's really important. Get your high school diploma at the very least, etc. We're promoting that. I promote that on here because I at least got my high school diploma. But
I dropped out in 4th grade.
Well, yeah. Not everybody made it through the system, but like just try. If you're still in school, just try to your best to get through school. If not, no pressure. No pressure from a very tiny, vaguely influencer face with a podcast. You get it. I'm not really that big yet, so don't listen to me. But just try to get through school, people. Anyways, so getting started. Let's see. Donovan and Blake, just kind of introduce yourself, basically tell the audience what you guys do for Disembodied Tyrants, and we will kind of move forward from there.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first. I'm Donovan Parchment. I'm pretty much the one who started the band. I'm also the vocalist. I'm 16 years old. I started this band about last year and just transitioning into my 10th grade year of high school, and I really did not think that this band would be as big as it is for a high schooler,
right?
Especially a 16-year-old. I didn't think it would be as big as it is now, but I'm very thankful for that and all the people that listen to our music and all the reactions and all the nice things that we've been getting. Like all the nice words that we've been hearing,
right?
And all that stuff. It's really like, and I'm, being 16, my mom told me that there was either 2 routes I could take this, either be really egotistical about it or be really humble about it. And I chose really humble. So
that's the way to go, I would argue, because the thing is, and like, obviously I'll be talking about this in a different upload completely, and this is just me reflecting upon my own opinion, but as time goes on, I'm noticing that more and more bands kind of have an elitist mindset over time. Like the moment they start getting good numbers on streams and videos and yeah, to say the least, that turns their live performance and live experience into not the best thing. And for those who know who have kind of participated in my actual life recently on Facebook, like we're not about that here. It's not cool to act like you're better than the people that make sure you fucking exist. But with that being said, I'll leave the rest of that for the other upload. But yeah, much appreciated that you decided to take the humble route instead of taking a more just elitist and kind of like, oh, this is our band. And we hope you like it. If not, haha, suck my dick or something like that, because it doesn't
a lot of that.
work.
Yeah, there's a lot of that today.
There's a lot of that today. And I mean, sure as hell, it's not welcome on this podcast. We're all human beings. We're all artists. We're all creative individuals. And that's it. You know, the numbers can stack up. The streams can stack up for bands like To the Grave, Signs of the Swarm, Worm Shepherd, Distant, who have also been on this podcast before. But it's like, you got to keep your head on your shoulders and not have your head be above the clouds while the rest of you is improvising where to go, because you can't see what's in front of you, quite literally. Like, imagine having a neck that long too and just like feeling that high on your ego. But
yeah,
in other words, yeah, definitely grateful that Disembodied Tyrants is another project that will be fulfilling that more human, more humble, more mortal embodiment as a band. And, you know, even though it's disembodied, it seems to embody very, very, you know, good standards, very good morale. So grateful for that. Blake, what can you tell us about yourself? What do you do for Disembodied Tyrants?
Well, I guess I should start on how I joined the band. I have a YouTube channel that I post on maybe once every 6 months or something. And Don was on a Knocked Loose kick, and I had a couple instrumental covers uploaded there, and he saw them, and I think you saw a Vale Maya one too, didn't you?
Ooh.
Yeah. So
yeah. And I guess they were just looking for a guitarist, and he hit me up and on Thanksgiving Day last year, actually. And I kind of figured, what do I really have to lose?
Exactly.
And so I have a lot of, I'd say, producing experience. I've worked with a lot of small local bands or just friends, or you know, some slightly bigger names as well, but my role in those wasn't really that applicable.
Right.
And Don didn't even know that when he contacted me. He just saw that I was a guitar player.
Right.
And so I kind of figured, you know, maybe it would do some good for my career to join up. And actually, it's funny, they wanted me to write songs for the band, and because the older stuff, the stuff that's out, isn't really playable by a human. So you know, they kind of wanted a little shift in style. And when I joined, I really had no idea I could write. It was kind of bit of a journey for me. I mean, right before I joined, I got hired to write a song, and that was the first song I had written in years. And then I get this offer right after that, and so I just kind of knuckled down. And you know, I think we have 2.5 songs.
Yeah,
done.
like 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. And when Don found out that I have producing experience, we decided to track the vocals together, which was a very, very painful process, given that we had to do it remotely. But we made it work. And that was one of the things that really made me stay with the band, like you just said, is that Don is not your average vocalist.
Yeah.
He is very you always got to tread lightly. Speaking from a producer and an engineer's point of view, you always have to tread very lightly your first time working with a singer.
Yes.
And Don immediately took every single thing I threw at him. You know, it was completely 100% equal. You know, I think this would be cool. He would do it. We would like it. We wouldn't, you know, there was absolutely no ego involved at all. And I was like, man, I really should stay, you know, because for a little bit it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I can't really write that well, but
yeah. And that's always important when it comes to getting a band
working out. So
yeah, that's really the founding, like the foundations for what will be a castle of a band, I'm sure. Because when it comes to, It's just like a relationship. A
Mhm.
band is actually the most complicated relationship on the planet because
Oh, yeah.
you early on have to establish this almost brotherly bond.
Mhm.
Basically, imagine driving around, like touring, especially with touring, driving around the world with your family members or with a new structured family, but they all
Mhm.
happen to also be really good at playing instruments, and
Yeah.
also they're they don't clash heads like siblings, so not really a family, but obviously a brotherhood is forged. So naturally, like when chemistry is good between all of the band members, that's really where things can get started. And then on top of that, everything that happens outside the band with just human relationships and how these individuals think and act, that also is what is responsible for the band staying together. And
Mhm.
that's just speaking on a level of chemistry and just understanding and talking to all the bands I already have. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really, really important.
That's probably the
So
most important thing
exactly. And
is
then
the
on
chemistry in
top
the
of that,
band. Yeah.
yeah. And then on top of that, when you're able to resonate and kind of interconnect, you all mesh into one being and make music. That's the next step. That's also chemistry, but almost on a spiritual level. It's really weird. But
Yeah, Don and I really really kind of hit it off. Like we talk on the phone every day, just
Yeah.
chatting about shit,
yeah.
It's just,
Chat.
and we're kind of like pretty close friends now, and it's really solidified, I feel like, my place in the band, and I feel very at home here now, even though I'm only been here for a couple months.
That's good.
It's
That was my
yeah,
main
it's
goal
yeah.
when bringing him on board to the band, is that as soon as he joined the band, he told me, well, he told the group chat of our members that he was kind of worried to voice his opinion. And I was like,
Right.
you're a part of the band now. So like if you have an opinion, say it, no matter what, because if you're a part of this band, now you're a part of Disembodied Tyrant. Every fan
Yes.
of me is now a fan of you. Every fan of you is now a fan of our drummer, and this, that,
Yeah.
and third. We're all in this together. So,
Yeah.
I try and that was my main goal, was to make everybody feel as home as possible, which is, if they have an opinion, I listen as best as I can, no matter what.
Mhm.
It's just yeah, it's just
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
trying to do
When he told me that, it was like oh, finally I can kind of breathe, because literally almost every experience I've had working with a band has always some sort of interband drama or something, with
Right.
creative differences or something, or this is my
Yeah.
band, this isn't your band, or something like
Exactly.
that. So I was very relieved in that moment. And
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing
Mhm.
to enjoy the art, produce the art, and create like friendships with the people that you're working with. Like bands out there in the world who don't do most of those things that I just mentioned, like I constantly worry about that. I don't have it at the back of my mind, even because there are so many millions of bands that you don't have the time and energy as one person to think about it all. But
Mhm.
you think about those projects and you're like, damn, how long are those going to last?
Yeah, they usually don't last very
Usually
long. I
don't
mean,
last.
I have almost an entire hard drive full of bands that I've worked with that ended up splitting before the release.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to say the least, people disembodied Tyrant. That's not going to happen. Or at least
No. No, it isn't.
like they seem to be doing good. They seem to be all working together really well. I make this sound like, there was drama, but there never has been, and they're here to stay. They're here to stay and
Mhm.
unleash hell in let's see, the northern regions. So my next question would be basically, where are you guys from, the same state or the same part of the US?
No, so before I got Blake along, it was just me and this songwriter from Russia, well,
Ooh.
Moldova to be specific. And that's who I wrote Eclipse Part 1 with. And we got contacted by some people that were basically like, hey, we want you to play some live shows, but you're just basically
You're in DC, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Your mic cut out.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Right.
Oh, it's back.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
Go back.
cool. Sick. So I do apologize. Let's see.
No
So
worries.
I think the last where you left off, Donovan, you were talking about musicians that you were working with, and they reached out to you and they're like, hey, we want you to play live shows, but, and then it cut off. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, so what's the name? They wanted us to play live shows, but it's just basically me. It was me and that guy from Russia, and there was no way that we were gonna play any of our
Right.
material live with just us two.
Yeah.
So I decided to just start searching for guitarists, and I found Blake, found a drummer, and now with he lives on Central Timing,
Right.
just outside of St. Louis.
Yeah, that's
And,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm on Maryland. I live in DC. I live on Eastern Time, so it's just us two as of right now. Well, it's not us two. We have a drummer, but that's
We're the two that really do the songs.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the drummer's kind of there for live purposes and
Yes.
stuff like that. But yeah, Don, Don
Yeah.
lives in DC. I'm in St. Louis, so
Okay. Well, kind of taking a step back, without a doubt, like plenty of information that you guys have unveiled for the podcast, and by all means, much appreciated. So we got Donovan, you're from Maryland, and then Blake, you're from St. Louis, Missouri, right?
Yep.
All right. So wanted to dive into that a little bit as well, and kind of just get a background on where y'all came from. Of course, growing up, all that fun stuff, how you got into music, because that's really what the first half is for, is just like learning your musical background, what got you into music, and even the artists that have majorly influenced what Disembodied Tyrant is now and is
Mhm.
going to be in the future. So either one of you can start, doesn't really matter who, but basically just kind of give background on where you grew up and what got you into the role that you're fulfilling now.
Okay, so I'll go first. When I was maybe around 3 years old, I grew up in Queens, New York.
Okay,
When I was about
sick.
3 years old, my brother had a PSP, and I was like, he had old, like very old Corn songs, and I think a Winds of Plague album on there.
Oh,
And that
sick.
basically just shot my metal journey, just sent it running. So after that, I'd say around maybe the 6, 7, like 8 years old stage, I was listening to like old like Corn and Slipknot songs on my iPad on SoundCloud, thinking that it was the heaviest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Right.
And I think I had a weird dubstep journey, but that was because Korn did that album with Skrillex. And I was-
Yeah. No, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. It was still a pretty good album.
yeah, so I had that journey, but around 2012 is like when everything changed, where the Infinite Annihilator released that Cunt Crusher drum cover, and I really wanted to play drums, but they released that Cunt Crusher drum video that got massive numbers, and I watched it, and I was like, "Holy shit, what is this band?"
yeah.
I'm like 10 years old. And I was listening. That's basically shot my deathcore journey up pretty much. I haven't listened to anything else but black metal and deathcore since I was 10 years old. Or yeah. And I have a
Yeah, he's
playlist.
steeped in it. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a playlist on my phone called A Plus Slams, and it has 500 songs on it of just pure deathcore that I listen to. It's 48 hours long, and I listen to it every single day. I don't think
Wow.
any other genre could do it for me. But what got me into doing vocals was I just started 2 years ago, really. I just started taking vocals seriously maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
There was I just was like, you know what? sat down one day and I was listening to, I think Infinite Annihilator dropped that new album, and I was like, I think I might want to just start doing this because it sounds cool. And so I just sat down and I looked up how to do a fry screen, and that pretty much just shot everything there. I learned, I'm self-taught with everything else. I just was like, how do you do a fry screen? YouTube, and there you go.
Yeah.
And I'd say Dickie Allen and maybe trying to think of another vocalist that has give a crack at vocals.
His mic cut out again.
Those way favorites, but
I feel like there's someone you're
there's
missing.
Someone I'm missing. No. If you're asking someone I'm missing out of that list, I want to say probably the guy from Behemoth.
Nurgle.
Yeah, Nurgle.
Yeah.
He's probably one of my bigger influences.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we're good. Yep.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm
No worries.
having technical difficulties. So where we last left off this time, I think it was after you were mentioning the deathcore playlist that you had and that you would like play all day. It was almost like 40 hours long. And
so
that's where we left off. Hopefully we won't have any more difficulties.
Yeah, that's fine. But what I was saying was that so that pretty much shot my career, like what I wanted to do up to the top. And in vocals wise, why I started a year and a half ago was basically I was just like, oh, these guys are doing it. It sounds cool. I'm gonna try it. So I basically YouTubed how to do a fry screen, and that's it from there. I just self-taught myself how to do gutturals, tunnel throw, all these crazy techniques. And but the thing is that I've been adamantly practicing this for maybe I've learned how to do it. The first like 4 months I was like, okay, cool. But then I started making covers and it started getting really addicting, and I maybe practiced every single day for 8 months on how to do vocals and stuff. And my biggest influences vocally, Dickie Allen.
The beast.
Duncan Bentley from Vulvodynia, my favorite vocalist. And,
Fuck yes.
Nurgle from Behemoth, because Behemoth is probably hands down my favorite band ever to exist. So.
Sweet. Yeah, and those are really, really big and iconic vocalists, period. Like Duncan Bentley is probably one of my favorite vocalists as well. Obviously, shout out to the homies. We got Devin Duarte from Warm Shepherd. We have let's see. We have Greg, formerly of Shrine. He's a homie for sure. And let's see. Probably other than that, there's Agung from Makluk, if you're familiar with that project.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. I love so much.
And we had him on the podcast as well. Like, big shout out to him. He was such an awesome guest. But yeah, those are really, really good. Those are really good inspirations. Those are big names in the scene. And shit, I have yet to see Behemoth live. I would love to see them live one day. Have a conversation with Nurgle himself. I think
that would be an experience for sure.
Hands down. One of the only musicians that I know and feel that I could trust and respect who's burned a Bible live on stage. Like we're all about that here. Obviously not burning the Bible, maybe, but you know, just kind of on the fence.
It's all
with
imagery.
That right now. It's all imagery. Exactly. But with that being said, I do appreciate you sharing that with us, Donovan, and sharing with us your inspirations and what got you into vocals. So Blake, what is your story, my friend? Obviously coming from St. Louis, Missouri, got a lot going on, but how did everything kind of bring you to now?
Well, I started playing drums when I was 4. My dad is a drummer, and he taught me all the basic rudiments, and and how to play a beat kind of thing. And then the older I got, the more I kind of took it from there. And when I was about 10, I got into prog. I started learning Dream Theater songs and stuff. And then when I was 12, I started playing guitar, and I took that very, very seriously. And I said I dropped out in 4th grade. I did, and I was homeschooled, but it pretty much turned into, maybe an hour or 2 of school a day, and then I would just practice after that. So I took guitar very, very seriously. And then when I was about 17, 18, I kind of realized this doesn't mean anything unless I can record it. So I went out, bought a laptop. I had a pretty nice amp. I still have a PV 6534 Plus. So I bought a load box for that, and an interface, and Easy Drummer 2. And then I just started kind of doing demos or whatever. But it kind of turned into I was just writing things to have something to try and mix.
Right.
So pretty much immediately I gravitated towards the production side of things. And then I joined Nail the Mix, which is kind of mixing. Yeah.
I know what that
and
is.
So ever since I joined them, I kind of stopped writing and focused on just as much production and mixing stuff as I could, with engineering and everything. And so that I pretty much grinded on that for, I think, the start of 2019 all the way to now still, really.
Right.
And in 2020, when quarantine happened, I started to actually get some traction. I was doing session playing for guitar, writing programmed drums, just producing bands in general.
Exactly.
Quite a few mixing gigs, just kind of the usual. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got here.
Right. And obviously we've kind of overviewed and reviewed upon, how you guys met up and all that fun stuff. So to say the least, that's actually a good way to wrap up the first half of the session. And I do appreciate you guys' time thus far. I'll do apologies for the technical difficulties again. But
No problem.
as we migrate into the second half of the Anatomy podcast session for Disembodied Tyrants, which is really cool. We're just adding more and more names onto this list that I did not expect. But the first juicy question for the band half of the podcast would be, how did you end up coming up with the name Disembodied Tyrant?
Well, okay, so
Lore time.
So basically it was kind of funny because that band that you just mentioned, I can't pronounce it.
Bakluk?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're Filipino or Indonesian, one of the two. But I basically, one of their songs, I think the bridge was about a demon, an Indonesian demon.
Right.
So basically, I was going through Indonesian demons and just looking up one to find one about the bridge. And I came across, I can't pronounce it, but it's like Mannaggal, Banana Gall or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
A vampire.
Banana golf.
Yeah.
Banana golf.
It's a vampire with half a body that goes around and eating pregnant women's children while they're asleep.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, that sounds fucking metal. But I'm not about to name a band something very
Banana golf.
Yeah, I'm not about to name a band
Banana golf.
so so I basically came up with Disembodied Tyrant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually really dope. And hands down, this is definitely a creative suggestion, but I think as a shout out to him and stuff in the future, if you guys ever get the opportunity, definitely incorporate the artwork for that demonic entity. And I don't know, even put in parentheses below or whatever, and just even if it's upside down, so it's subliminal and only true fans see it, they're like, oh shit, is that what I think it is? Just put in the name for the monster there. I think that'd be really cool. And people are like, what is banana golf? Or something. But that's actually really dope. That's really dope to hear that bands that we've already had on the podcast are responsible for the names of other projects that are now emerging and now premiering themselves, now debuting themselves on the podcast, which is really, really fucking cool. And
Yeah.
that's one way to just kind of expand this big project I've been investing into for so
Yeah,
long.
I've had a lot of luck coming up with band names. Like I had my first band ever when I was 15
Mhm.
was Divine Obliteration. And
Okay.
everybody was like, that's a fucking sick name.
Yeah.
That was a good name.
And the way I got it was basically from the 2019 Infinite Annihilator album where he just said it. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I basically
yeah.
just was like, okay, yeah, that's a band name.
No, that's actually really cool. That's actually really cool. And like, I have to say, I give you credit because most people on the podcast, they're like, yeah, we were just coming up with random names and they just sounded cool. But like, at the very least, that's like, yeah, we were just coming up with names. It sounded cool. And it was based off an Indonesian demon. Like, that just has more depth to it. That just has more spice to it. And especially because,
everything,
you know.
everything Don does has about 800 motives behind it. I noticed like all of the lyrics are very intertwined with the entire lore of the band. It's really special to see a vocalist take this so seriously, especially at his age.
Exactly.
It's pretty incredible.
And I definitely have had the opportunity to listen to Disembodied Tyrant to do my homework a little bit. Love y'all's Devilman Crybaby AMV for one of your songs because that was like one of the most traumatizing animes I have ever seen. I watched it every time. I cry every time like a little baby. And it's just very emotional. It's very dark. But because of that, I've seen, Shrine of Malice did it back during the Sheol album cycle. And I think, to be honest, I want to say this because I'm like, I'm proud of them. They're homies of mine. Like, I want to say that they're one of the first deathcore bands, at least, to start doing anime music videos, but I'm not completely sure about that. So
I think it was them. If
Yeah,
not, they were definitely one of the first.
exactly. And like after that, really, that's when I started seeing the Suicide Boys edits for the final Naruto fight between Sasuke and Naruto. That's when I really started seeing those get bigger and bigger too. So I'm like, wait, was Shrine actually responsible for people like using AMVs more? But on another note, migrating from the what could have been the beginning of that, it's cool to see even more bands doing that, such as you guys. There's Dragon Corpse, there's Man-Made God, like plenty of bands in the scene because we're all freaking weebs, man. And then if not, they're still really good music videos. Like they're really.
It's kind of I kind of feel like an outsider because I've watched like 2 animes my entire life. I'm like the one person that isn't a weeb. Like I've seen Death Note and One Punch Man. That's it.
That still counts. That still
counts. Yeah. Although Death Note's kind of like I feel like everybody has seen Death Note at least once.
Yeah, but that's why it's part of the starter pack, man. You got like
it is, yeah.
Speaking for anime starter packs and stuff, and like the more edgy, more dark, like I want to be in an emo band, or I want to like not speaking for this band by any means, but
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Back when those animes were coming out, it's like I'm emo, but I also like anime. What is something dark and cruel and even noir in vibe, but also anime, and you got shows like Future Diary, you got Death Note, Akame ga Kill, kinda, but not really. That's more just like really
Action anime.
Yeah, action anime. You got let's see, there's Blood Sea, there's Parasite, which is one of my favorites. There's Berserk. Like, dude, the list goes on, but gritty, dark anime that you can also relate to because you're in a heavy metal band. Like that's kind of what those shows
like
are.
How many of them have like really heavy intros for songs?
Exactly.
Like really extreme metal. I was kind of surprised with the Death Note intro when my girlfriend made me watch it. But I was like, whoa, what is this?
So like real quick, like on a more personal level and stuff, like which anime did you enjoy more, Blake, with your first two?
I think they're so different.
Right.
I'm a very lighthearted person, I think.
Okay.
So I think I liked One Punch Man. I enjoyed it more, but I will say the experience of watching Death Note was probably something I will never forget.
Right. Well,
because I've never been exposed to that kind of thing, and like the pure tension throughout that show was really something special.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, if you are a lighthearted person and you don't like the whispers, the tragic whispers of tragedy, then do not watch Devilman. Like, by all means, do not watch.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just my I work so much.
Mm.
Like I sleep maybe 5 hours a night, so it's like I don't
Oh,
really have the mental energy to like commit to
yeah,
something that's very emotionally intense because I'm, you know,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Fair enough. Well, in that case, yeah, One Punch Man is definitely a good show for people who are just like kind of wanting even background noise as a
It
show.
was, yeah, I loved it. It was
So
was great.
fucking funny.
It was so funny. Yeah.
But if anything, next question as we continue this little journey with the beginning really of Disembodied Tyrant as they're preparing to make their next step as a band whenever they do. When y'all were starting Disembodied Tyrant, did you guys have any goals early on, creatively speaking, or any goals that you were wanting to make that like no other band has done before for black and deathcore, counterculture, etc?
Yeah, so going into making Disembodied Tyrant, my goal was to just make something that will punch you in the fucking face. Like,
Right.
so there's so many, like, you can reach in the side of your couch and pull out a black and deathcore band, and there's so many of them out there,
Yeah.
and it's just a whole bunch of symphonic elements or black metal riffs.
Right.
But going into the first EP of Disembodied Tyrant, my main goal was to just have extremely fast double bass, fucking zeros and ones, and gutturals as low as possible. So basically,
Right.
slam, but have it still the a deathcore brutality. And we kind of landed on a scale between Meth Witch and Black Tongue, where
That's a good
like-
combo, man.
like
Those are
where-
good bands.
where it was just like extremely fast and technical, but somehow also very slow. So
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
pretty much where we landed on for Eclipse Part 1.
Okay. And I mean, hell yeah. Dude, by all means, man. Cameron McBride, if you happen to be checking out any of these episodes, hopefully this will be the one that you check out. I definitely want to get you on the podcast as well. That would be fucking sick. Or Alex from Blacktown. That would be fucking sick because those are two very iconic bands. And that is one way to compare your project is to the very just like almost I would even compare Meth Witch to the musical embodiment of like The Exorcist. And just
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
all that has to offer, because even the main marketed songs, the first premiere songs to promote what ended up being Endwell, like, oh my god, I don't think I've heard anything that is legitimately what you would hear in a spirit box, in a very, very intense spirit box session, as I did when I listened to Meth Witch. So that's a
Yeah.
really good comparison. And
Yeah,
that's
listening to Meth Witch for the first time, like when I growing up, I didn't really listen to. I did when I was like 14, 15. I listened to a lot of deathcore and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Like I barely listen to it anymore.
Right.
Honestly, I listen to more pop punk than anything. Poser, whatever. But
No, not
it's
even.
it's when I first heard Meth Witch, it was the first time in years that I'd actually felt terrified. You know, it was like the first thing that gave me the level of stress that listening to deathcore when I was like 13 did.
Right.
It's a very special project. I think it's just one guy.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got, yeah, dude's an animal.
Dude's an animal.
Mhm.
Guaranteed. Another white kid in the neighborhood who actually can unleash the devil in the mic and
Oh,
in
yeah.
the fucking recording process. Like,
Oh yeah.
Meth Witch is unparalleled. And the fact that like Meth Witch and, you know, 2 other projects, that's his collective efforts, is like beyond me. He has like a pop punk project or something as well. Not even kidding.
Really?
Yeah, not even fucking kidding.
That's
He
awesome.
he has like a pop punk project, or maybe even a vaporwave project. I don't really
Wow.
I don't really follow up with him that well, just because I can only imagine working on 3 projects and then trying to promote all those by yourself can be difficult.
Oh yeah.
But all I know is he does have 3 different projects, and they are all incredibly just polar opposite. I'm like, what the fuck? But in the best of ways, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a really cool way to bridge 2 different bands. And I mean, honestly, what has been the most like shocking thing being Disembodied Tyrants been so far? Like, what's been a major milestone and stuff that you guys maybe perhaps from of course a more humble and human point of view, just like, shit, I didn't know this would be a thing.
Oh, there's one, and I think Blake knows what I'm about to
Mhm.
talk about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There was a guy that sent me a picture on Instagram of we have an emblem. He tattooed the emblem on the side of his face, and it's about this big.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that
And-
was very surreal.
And me being 16, just like I was fucking losing it. Like I was losing my mind over somebody got a tattoo of the emblem on the side of their face. That's gonna be stuck with them until they die. And they
Yeah.
got it of my band because of my band in the work that I've put in. And that moment was so surreal. And it was probably one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt, and I will probably ever feel in my entire life. Like that
Right.
was a moment of just like I started crying a little bit because
Yeah.
I was like, it wasn't meant to be this big. Like it wasn't like
Nah, that's nuts. That's really nuts. And I've seen the emblem for Disembodied Tyrants, and it's like it's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
to put on your face too.
Yeah. Probably
That's fucking crazy.
The most surreal thing for me was, I think, probably just the fact that I came into this not really knowing that I could write, and then having our first demo that I did be sent to musicians that I've loved for years, that Don is friends with, because Don knows everybody somehow.
Yeah.
And he was stoked on it. And I was like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
dude that I've looked up to for years heard my song and loved it. And it was kind of this moment of like, oh, okay, this is actually a thing. I'm not just writing to write, there's a purpose to my efforts here. So
Yeah, no, that's actually super cool.
mm.
And I mean, as Disembodied Tyrants, or Disembodied Tyrant, single blah, 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 single tense, there we go. As y'all continue moving forward, you so far have Eclipse Part 1 out. So what is the next step going to be for this project? Like,
Oh man,
should we be expecting anything this year?
I can take
Yep.
this one. I can take this one, Don. I actually really wanted to talk about this on the podcast,
Yes.
because it kind of weighs on me a little bit. Since the dude who did Eclipse Part 1
Okay.
isn't really writing for the band anymore. I kind of filled that role since I'm an actual kind of guitar player.
Yes.
And it is very different. So I kind of worry sometimes that, like, the guy that got our emblem tattooed on his face, like, what if he doesn't like the new stuff and he gets it like laser removed or something? But we have a single coming out February 24th on Slam Worldwide. It's a lyric video, and I wrote the song, I produced the song, I tracked the vocals with Don, I wrote all the drums, the bass, the guitars, recorded everything besides vocals, mixed,
Right.
and I'm just now getting finished with mastering, I think.
Okay.
So this has completely kind of consumed my life for the past 2 months.
Naturally.
I think it's really good, albeit it is very different from Eclipse. It's
Okay.
very, very different. But yeah, we got that. We have 2.5 songs that we're completely done with, and we're gonna have Dawn come out in the beginning of April. And I have a nice mic setup, good preamps, interface, all that well-treated
Right.
room. We're gonna track vocals here over the span of a week for the whole EP, and that should be coming out later this year. So that's what we
Sick.
got going for now.
Yeah. And by all means, we will be here. Like, I will be more than happy to join you guys and help you promote all of your endeavors this year. If y'all want to, I can jump on a reaction with you and we can react to this new song live, like as soon as it comes out, of course, because I know it's like you got to get their song released and then you can do a reaction. And that's mainly been with bands that have record labels like Worm Shepherd. So if y'all want to, I'd be more than happy to react per
Definitely.
se with
Yeah,
you on the
for
sure.
song. And I mean, I'll show up in the corpse paint, obligatory. There we go. It's such a word, but I'll be showing up in corpse paint, and there you have it, folks. We have Mr. Donovan and Blake of Disembodied Tyrant. This is a band that is emerging from the wormwood of the scene, and they have an EP out already. They have a couple music videos out already, anime music videos through Slam Worldwide. And stay tuned for February 24th, because that so far and until further notice will be when they release their new song.
Yep.
So you gentlemen, be sure to enjoy your day. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, by all means, I want to promote as many stories in the scene as possible and just, kind of get involved, because it's super fun. And, it's cool to get to know everybody that is like trying their damnedest to get something out there. But we will be seeing you guys on the 24th. Otherwise, have a great day and take care of yourselves.
You
Yep.
too. Thank you.
You too, man.
Of course, by all means. Later, guys.